Hey, Will, what are you doing?
I'm grabbing a glass of wine, man.
Brother, you know we have a podcast to do.
I know, I'm trying to keep from spilling this wine. Hey friends, this is Will.
Hey everyone, this is Michael.
And welcome to We Know Texas Vino.
Cheers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to We Know Texas Vino. This is Will.
Hey, this is Michael.
And Michael, where are we at today?
Well, we are out at 4R. We're going to explain that in detail here in a moment, but we're excited to be here at this amazing winery. I've actually been here before, Will.
I've never been here before.
My wife and I were out here, and actually I met one of the owners, Nicole, beforehand, and when I came out here, I bugged her, and it was really awesome. Here we are with this great couple, and then, of course, their winemaker today, but we're at 4R in a beautiful venue. Beautiful. I'm looking at windmills right now. Yeah. It's a gorgeous day after a snowstorm that we had, and we'll maybe talk to them about how that affected them up here in the high country, but
this is awesome. They probably had a ski lodge up here, didn't y'all?
So we're fired up to share some more quality time with everybody. Our listeners, we're so excited. Yes. We've reached out to many parts of the world already. We've been in Germany and Australia, and we've been over in Japan, which is just strange to me. And of course, our goal is to reach really every corner of the world, which is going to be really fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've had 7 episodes. This is episode number 8. We're pumped to be in, I think we're in Munster, Texas. Is that correct, you guys?
That is correct.
Munster, Texas for our next edition number 8 already.
Yeah. So for everybody who's out there listening to us for the first time or listen to us the second, third, seventh, 10th time, whatever.
Right. 8th.
You can find us on Facebook at We Know Texas Vino. Go out to Apple or Spotify or Stitcher, or actually we found out Audible.
We just found Audible has us.
Audible has us on there now. So
somehow.
Go out there and find us. Give us a 5-star rating. Yep. If you hear something that you have a problem with, or you want us to touch a topic or go to a winery, let us know. We're happy to do everything like that.
Right, and we love the feedback because that helps us get better. And as we start to fine-tune our skills, whether it's interviewing or connecting or just enjoying good wine, we want to make sure we do it better every day.
Yep.
I think you're supposed to say, or wherever the finest podcasts are available.
That's right.
Here's something. Our listeners don't know Walt yet, but I have a feeling Walt.
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
3 amigos. We got the 3 amigos happening.
You're really fine. We want you to interrupt.
That was a line from.
I did warn you.
That was a line from Coco Needs a Friend podcast.
I love it.
Wait a minute. Where was I for this morning? Because I didn't hear this.
Actually, I neglected to relay that to you.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
All right. Well, we're going to have fun. It's going to be a great time here.
All right, folks. So you're listening to We Know Texas Vino, episode 8, Munster, Texas, at 4R Winery. And, well, wait a minute. It's 4R Ranch. Vineyards and Winery. I have to read my notes here.
Yeah, I sent you notes intentionally just for that reason. So we have a great group of people here today.
Yeah.
Not only do we have the cast behind us, an amazing group of employees who are amazing. They've taken care of us already. But we have Walt and Nicole, a married couple. They are the owners of this great facility here, this great, amazing extravaganza. And we have Anthony as well. So welcome, you 3. Welcome to We Know Texas Vino.
Welcome.
Thank you. I feel like I need to clarify we're not you only have all the owners here.
2 of the owners.
2 of the owners,
Thank
yes,
you for
correct.
So you're the 2 that I've met so far.
So who's the other owners then? We want to make sure they get their names.
Kudos. Shout out.
My brother, Chris Roper, and my mom, Suzanne Roper.
Okay.
It's me and the in-laws.
You and
That's
Roper.
all you have to know.
Is your new name Roper?
Correct.
Yes.
R-O-P-E-R.
R-O-P-E-R.
Unfortunately. Come and knock on our door. Come and knock on our door.
Mr. Roper.
That's exactly what
We are the current version of the Ropers.
Actually, just a little story. Well, you'll like this, right? In 3rd grade, there were 20 of us in the class, and my birthday's February 12th. And 3 of us had the birthday on February 12th. It was me, Jim Gurney, and Warren Roper who had those birthdays on that.
Right.
So maybe you have a friend.
It's a rare last name. It really is.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Shortened from the English rope maker originally.
We've had several customers come through from time to time visiting with that last name, wanting to know if we're related somehow. But Walt's family is 6th-generation Texan, so we don't know.
Okay, so Roper, I wonder where it does come from originally. It's European, obviously.
English, I think.
English Roper, that makes sense, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Shortened from rope maker, so we hear.
That's right. So
Is that what you hear? From someone who would drink it.
That's right. You never know.
In addition to this great couple, we have Anthony. Welcome, Anthony. Glad you're here, sir.
I'm good to be here.
Yeah, you're the winemaker, the man behind the scenes.
He is.
Here at this facility, this
No.
winery? Okay, so
I'm getting hired down here.
you're hired. Well,
So you're the silent assassin, huh?
Yeah, we've heard great things about you from 2 different individuals.
Yes.
So I'm excited to learn more about what you do and who you are and that sort of thing today. so it should be good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, like I said, I've never been here before. So coming out here, I mean, the location out here is a nice little trek. You know,
For sure. Yeah.
When I looked at the Google Maps, it said turn here, and I'm like, that's another dirt road.
Right.
And I wish my truck had 4-wheel drive because I didn't know if I was going to make it up a couple of these hills here.
After the rain and the
After
snow.
the rain and the snow and the ice, and yeah.
It's really quite the surprise driving up here because it changes all of a sudden. You
It
know,
does.
you're rolling hills and all of a sudden, wow, because most people don't even know the terrain turns into this.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. That's got to be one of the gems of having this place is.
It is.
Of course, they show up here, and again, I remember when my wife, we talked about this pregame, but my wife and I, when we were here the first time, we sat right over there and overlooked that gorge or whatever you call it over there. We were fascinated with that. So you have a real gem here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're lucky that we're kind of on the weird, it's not the continental divide, but the northern part of our property, the ridge, the main ridge, separates the Trinity watershed from the Red River watershed. So actually a raindrop that falls on the southernmost part of our property flows into the Trinity, and on the other side it flows into the Red River, which is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Well, geology there, geography and geology.
So with that all being said, what made y'all decide this location here to plant y'all's vineyards and make your winery here?
Well, my parents bought the ranch in '92.
Okay.
And
So that was
when we found out that RK was growing grapes, and we visited them, and we're like, wow, we could do grapes here. So really, I credit Howard and Amy, the owners of RK, with they are the pioneers.
They're the pioneers. We did not know that when we were there. That's awesome.
Yeah, we did not know that.
They were the
And
first
then-
in this area.
And then, of course, Julie and Patrick,
Yeah.
redhead at Blue Ostrich. I mean, it was really the four of them that were very instrumental in getting us to do this.
Okay.
And what Walt didn't share was that he and his mom had looked at doing several things on the ranch before they decided on grapes, including olive trees and various and sundry other things, And but no, I think it was a good choice, and everyone was so excited because then we could actually have a trail. We could have a true wine trail with three different wineries. Creates a lot of excitement and a good foundation for a wine trail for visitors. So
That is so perfect. Yeah. So I heard 92, but when did this come into fruition? When did this? Okay.
We planted our first grapes in 2010.
Okay.
And those are the grapes. Those are the vineyards you drove through. Driving up, you see the cab on your left and the Viognier on your right. And then we started construction on the winery in 2015 and finished in 2016. We opened in November of 2016.
Okay. 201.
Wow.
So newer than I expected. Okay.
Yes, we are.
I thought y'all were a lot older on that. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know why I did.
Thank you.
thank you. I know.
Always the nicest compliment. Well, you seem older.
Our wines taste more refined and mature than that.
Well, I know you guys are here. We're in a great location. We're having so much fun already. It's been a treat. But you also have a second location. Nicole, why don't you talk about that real quick? Where is that location?
We're so fortunate and are maybe crazy. We opened our second location in downtown McKinney, Texas, on the historic square.
That's a great square.
In November of 20, right in the middle of COVID, and we have enjoyed such a wonderful community there in McKinney. It is such a wonderful Texas wine community. We're so thrilled to be part of it, and I would say that if you haven't visited the historic square, it's certainly worth the trip, no matter where you live, even if you just come for the afternoon or the day. Great restaurants we're surrounded by, fabulous shopping, some other local wineries who are good friends of ours, and it's just it's a really special place. We're really proud to be there. So we'll be going on 3 years in that location.
Yeah, and to me, I visited that area a couple times. I was going to say, I'm relatively new to Texas. That is probably one of my favorite locations in all of Dallas, Metro Park. That is
It's
a really
really
great
true.
location. So congratulations to having that location, but also
Thank you.
the cooperation you have with some of the other wine wine owners that we know down in that area, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. So then you have these two. Is there any vision at all, Walt, to have maybe a third location? Is that part of the package yet? Or are you guys holding tight? Because Nicole was saying we were blessed and crazy. I think she said
Put that lid on that can of worms back on a little bit tighter.
And if it's top secret,
We may get even crazy.
We may get crazier.
Yeah,
we
for
could.
sure.
We've talked about getting a little crazier. So
well, our educational portion today, I'm actually in charge of it. It's going to be about the venue and, of course, the extracurricular activities that can happen in a venue to make it a destination resort, a destination place to visit. McKinney, I agree, is one of those, right? And here, this location is one. So we're going to talk about that in the future. But maybe your third place, maybe also you'll have that same philosophy. I don't know.
Yeah.
hopefully.
And I have to say that I've been to McKinney a couple of times, and that was my first experience with 4R, and I really love the wine there.
You love it here as well.
I love it even better here
Okay.
because I mean I'm a country boy. Okay, I grew up in West Texas, so I'm used to being in the country and stuff. And I don't know why, but wine tastes so much better in the country.
Oh, interesting. That could be a whole podcast.
That could be a whole.
And for a West Texas boy, it tastes even better when there's actually hills involved.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. They actually exist here.
What is funny is because when we was coming back from Lonesome Vine, I feel like I was going out the deer lease as a kid, and I kind of like had flashback moments, and I looked and see if I had the gun rack on the back of my truck.
Different experience. Yeah.
Well, you had mentioned a couple of varietals that you have already, but maybe Anthony, you can comment on what are you growing here at this amazing location here?
We're growing Cabernet Sauvignon and Viognier.
Viognier. Okay, I heard Viognier. That's a big one, right? Is that kind of a Texas thing? I know it's a European.
For a while, we really thought Viognier was going to be the Texas white, but it has a problem with the late frost. So we still want it to be the Texas white, but it gives us trouble sometimes.
So is that just here, Anthony, or is that across the board now?
Everywhere. I think everywhere it grows because it wants to bud so early.
When would define early to me? Because we've heard different things.
Well, but I guess it's different in different parts of the state.
Okay.
The state's so big, it's when it buds out in the hill country, it's a lot different than it does here.
Okay, right. Yeah, you're
But
in
it
a
seemed to
unique
get
spot.
bit by a late frost a lot.
Okay.
When I first was making wine, it seemed to me back then that 10 years ago plus that Viognier really would only make once every 5 years.
Wow.
But nothing ever stays the same because then all of a sudden you have there was 3 years, I forget the year, that there were 3 vintages where they produced a bumper crop, in West Texas.
Okay.
And here I noticed they've had a big harvest here and then several little ones and several non-harvest.
So those are the two you're specializing in here. Do you as an amazing winemaker? I'm always so envious of the winemakers because they're so creative, so intelligent, so well educated. But you have something else you're interested in pursuing here. Maybe you don't need to tell the ownership yet. Maybe just something you're interested in.
I'll eat their microphones, so that way they can hear.
Earmuffs.
Well, we're in a tough spot here.
Okay.
We're kind of halfway up from the valley to the top. So.
That's right.
So I know we've got other spots we've been looking at the vineyards, but it's just tough. I think the wrong varieties will probably do best here, but that's not really proven yet either.
Okay.
Over Lonesome Vine, you saw they're doing a lot of the Grenache.
Well, just so your listeners don't think owning a winery is all fun, we planted 6 more acres
Oh wow.
in 2020.
We did.
And the winter
In April.
of 21, Winter Storm Uri, it got 14 below here.
Oh mercy.
And our wines,
Never happened.
our new vines were not established, and so they all died. So we lost a significant investment
Yes.
in money we lost in vines. And it wasn't just us, it also happened to Blue Ostrich.
Okay.
And
Well,
It,
many wineries.
yeah,
Many.
and so, it's a risky proposition growing grapes here.
Yeah, and so that's such a great example. Historically, now you think about it, you planned in 2020, but who would have ever predicted that Snowmageddon in 2021?
Right.
Which we've heard from many places has really affected.
And not only just 2021, but we had it again in 2022 as well.
I think
We
we
did
just had
for
one
a few days.
in 2023.
And then here, wow, wait a minute.
Well, I tell you what, our you said we had a snowstorm. No, it was not snow. Unless you're from Vermont, this was not snow. This was ice.
No, Snowmageddon was snow.
Yes, but this thing that happened earlier this week was
define that more as ice.
Yeah, I tried to take my car down to the front gate. I bailed out because I was worried I'd slide into the creek, honestly, because that first hill you guys came up into the deer fence, it was crazy slick, great, especially after it melted and refroze a little bit.
Yeah. Well, as a winemaker, what goes through your nervous system when a sleet storm and a cold snap hits you? Do you sleep at night?
This time of year doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother you?
No, they're dormant. They're supposed to be.
Right.
If they're established, they'll survive.
Okay, so it doesn't give you any sort of like a nightmare or anything like that.
But new vines,
Well,
yes.
but it's also the late freezes in early April.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people. Your listeners probably don't understand that. The biggest risk to us is a late freeze, which kills that year's crop or damages that year's crop significantly. And so that's the general risk. That's what most grape growers worry about. The actual killing of vines is extremely rare unless you have new vines.
Right.
But there was when it got 30 below in Ohio during what was it called? What they called it, polar vortex a few years ago.
Yeah.
When it got 30 below, not just wind chill, but really 30 below, the vines were like actually dying, and the cells were exploding because it was so cold. Yeah.
Wow.
But and I'm sure this latest cold snap, they've had some problems in northern vineyards too. Anyway.
So such a great takeaway, right? So we didn't. I mean, I kind of learned that, but it makes sense. You think about
it's the spring frost. It's the spring. It's the spring freezes, and as a general rule, the white grapes bud out earlier than the red grapes, and then there's some grapes that are so well adapted, like Lenoir or Black Spanish, that maybe does not make as great a wine. It's not a European variety, but winemakers, especially in East Texas, grow it because it survives. So you can't kill it. It's a weed. It's the perfect weed.
Okay, so we've talked about varietals. We've talked about great things you're doing here, which is awesome. Talk to us real quick, all three of you, about some of the great awards that you've won recently. I was on your website today. There's some great things. What are some of the things you want to showcase, you're excited about? Nicole, you were talking about your Ciroc. You said it's an award-winning. I believe you said award-winning. So what are some of the things you're really proud of right now that you want to showcase?
Well, our Ciroc currently is one of our best sellers in both McKinney and Munster.
Okay.
It's just such a fantastic wine, and Anthony really can talk about the true, hallmarks of it. I think we had an extremely special moment in 2019 when our Nectar Nero, which we recently reintroduced to the bar, won the best dessert wine in all of the United States of America at the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition. And that was a really special moment for us. But since then, we just had at the Granberry Wine Festival for the last couple of years, we've won gold. And was it our Albarino and our Roussanne that took the gold medal this year. And you were asking Anthony about grapes he likes to work with.
Sure.
You've always said that it's Roussanne and Tempranillo that are your favorite.
Roussanne is not the top-selling wine in most wineries, but it's my favorite wine. It's close to a Chardonnay, in my opinion. There's so many different ways you can do it. I like the mouthfeel of it, the creamy texture you can get with it, more than the vibrant. Multi-grain wines, they want a vibrant wax. And I like to make Roussanne in the style. It's more like a red wine drinker's white wine.
Okay.
It's smooth and tastes thick.
I do like a Roussanne, a good Roussanne.
But Albarino's a wonderful grape too. It's probably our best selling wine.
For sure.
Okay. All right.
That's my girlfriend's favorite one is Albarino. Like when we went to Edge of the Lake and we tried it there, and she looked at me and she had the glass in her hand. She goes, "I will need a couple bottles of these." And then we went to McKinney and tried it over there. She goes, "Oh, I definitely need a couple bottles of these."
Yeah, that green apple on the Albarino is what is so pleasing about it, and I think Anthony.
Well, I'm shooting for yellow apple.
Yellow.
You never can tell with the stinker what he's going to do.
Right.
Anyway, no, but that apple component of it is just so refreshing.
And crisp.
And it's crisp. Yes. It is so crisp. And I am more of a white wine drinker, so I personally love drinking that year round. I just think it's such a versatile white. and it just does really well in Texas. It's a great grape
Absolutely.
for Texas.
You know, I always thought Abarino and Pinot Noir are the most universal grapes. Because, you know, you only drink whites and rosés during the summertime and reds during the wintertime. But I think Abarino and Pinot Noir is great for doing for both, you know, seasons.
Yeah, interesting.
It's a good
You know,
point.
Texas don't have 4 seasons. We only have 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Hot and cold.
Hot
There
and
it
cold.
is.
Yeah.
That is right. We do that well.
Well, I did some research, and so the award-winning, is it a Nectar wine? What, the one you won the national award
The
for?
Nectar Nero
Nectar Nero. So I was reading about that.
it is a dessert rosé.
Okay, a dessert rosé. I was reading about it today on 2 different articles actually about that, and you guys won a major award for that. So you have that back on the shelves
It
now.
is now back on the bar, courtesy to Anthony,
Okay.
our winemaker, and his assistant winemaker, August. And
August.
I'm going to let Anthony talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, tell us about that. That sounds fascinating.
Well, it's a pretty tough grape to work with, I suppose. I wasn't here when they won the big award.
Okay.
We knew we had to bring in. It's hard to find certain grapes. You know, Albarino, there's not enough grapes. There's not enough Albarino grapes to go around to all the wineries in Texas. So some people have to miss out. That's really how it goes.
Yeah.
So, you know, some years I try to buy certain grapes from multiple wineries to make sure we have it. Cabernet is one of them. You know, you have to have Cab. It's the first wine people ask for. Well, they might ask for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, but both of those are cold weather grapes.
Yeah, that's
Texas
right.
isn't a cold region.
That's right.
So those great hats off the grapes and the Chardonnay.
Yeah, right.
We
He had
don't
mentioned
see a lot
that.
of it. There is some Pinot Noir growing in Texas, but you know, it's not really the right time. Not a lot of people have it.
Do you anticipate receiving some more awards though for this amazing sweet rosé?
Well, you never know.
I know.
You never know when you enter something, but you sure hope so.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have an instinct, right? You have an instinct, and you just
True.
know it's the bad boy. It's a good one.
Those instincts will get you because
Yeah.
we don't enter a whole lot of wines in competition.
Okay.
And the ones that I try to push to enter are the ones that I truly think will win a gold medal. And my, how you look at that.
That's probably good. A lot of
Spoken like a true winemaker.
Yeah. Winemakers have told us many times.
In both-
modesty.
Meanwhile, the owner's like, just enter them all.
We don't care. We'll just do it.
I got to say, in both grape growing and winemaking,
That's right.
it pays. You're
Yes.
better off being humble. Because,
That's right. It's very
Patient, maybe
true.
humble,
Yes.
patient,
Yes.
resilient.
Yeah.
Right, all those things.
For
You
sure.
know, we were talking about the other day, we were talking about wines being perfect. Oh, it was Hidden Hanger.
Okay.
And I said, wines being perfect. And I said, a tannin, and he thought I said a 10. and he was like,
Texas.
well, you know, you can't expect a 10 because, you know, you can never get a 10.
That's right.
You know, so he was very humble at describing his wines about winning awards and like that. So that's one thing I have to admit that I've learned from a lot of the winemakers that we've talked to. They're very humble.
They are.
They're very modest about their stuff, and you're sitting there drinking. You're like, "What are you talking about? This is the greatest stuff since the world." You know.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing how humble they are.
Why is that, Anthony?
Yes.
Answer this philosophical question that we've had for
Because they're not French.
I can't wait for this.
not French.
We
just lost all of our French listeners.
Well, we're really at the mercy of Mother Nature.
True.
And even with raising children, you always have the highest of hopes for your children.
That's
You
right.
teach them all you can, you lead them in the right direction, but it doesn't really mean they want to go in that direction.
That's right.
And it's the same with
That's a
wine.
good
It takes a
metaphor.
lot of-
It
It takes a lot of patience. Patience is a good way to describe it. Like you want every variety, you want it to be a certain way, and it just doesn't ever just lead right into that direction. You have to be patient on it for it to age and transform into being
What it's gonna be.
smoother and integrating with the oak a little bit more. It doesn't happen fast.
Okay.
You have to wait. And, as hard as you try and as much attention to detail you put in it, doesn't always. Grapes just don't want to evolve into the wine exactly how you want them to or the speed that you want them to.
But I have a theory about winemakers. It's kind of like
Please
grapes.
don't offend
It's
our
kind of like
friends.
grapes. The best grape the best grape is the one that has to struggle. And you see the Viognier, it looks puny, it looks like it's not doing so well, but it produces, at least our Viognier here, we've been very happy because it struggles to produce the fruit. You don't want a vine that's in great soil, like in a rainforest, that produces a bunch of leaves and vine. And I think the same theory applies to winemakers. I think it's easy to be a great winemaker in Napa. It's hard to be a great winemaker in Texas. Mm-hmm. So I think Texas teases out. I think in the end, I think 50 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to say, this region made the best winemakers because they had to deal with the most diverse problems. Okay. And I think that's really true. I think Anthony and Grayson over at RK and Patrick over at Blue Ostrich, I think those guys are learning how to handle everything that Mother Nature throws at them, and that's going to make them better.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that life in general, though? I come from the athletic world or whatever, but adversity and hurdles and all those things you have to overcome make you a much better athlete, or in this case, a much better winemaker and entrepreneur, which is pretty cool. And actually, he just stole my quality question, right? It's always
I know. So now we got
a vision for Texas.
There you go.
We got to do the research real quick.
Walt. Well, see, here's an interesting takeaway here real quick. Early in this episode, is that Walt and I probably are like brothers. We get ourselves in trouble a lot. We go for it. Whereas Anthony and I,
brother from another mother,
like kindred spirits, right? But here's the problem, Anthony, is that I'm too type A, too high strung. Waiting patiently for those grapes, I would be doing back hamstrings. I don't know what I'd be doing. So kudos to you. Okay.
Boy, that's for sure.
I'm really quiet. I don't talk a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, how I envision this whole growing grapes is like it's your child. You want to make sure that they grow up right and you grow up strong. And you go out there and you're like, I'm sorry, it's cold. And you put a blanket around them and you like cuddle with them and you sleep at night when they're scared.
So you
am I going too far here on the grapes?
Maybe a little.
Well, let's shift gears here real quick. We have some more questions, but one of the cool things about this venue is that they have an amazing biking series that shows up here. In fact, the last time I saw you, Nicole, surely you don't remember this, but I do.
You mean motocross?
No, not motocross. I grew up racing motocross.
No, can't do that.
This is bicycling. This is serious racing stuff. So last time I was here, you had a huge race series here. So your venue, we're sitting in your great tasting room right now. You have a great outlook of the hills and the beautiful, everything's amazing here. Tell us about what happens in addition to winemaking, in addition to pouring wine. What other activities do you have going on here at this venue?
Well, we have Walt really can speak to the races because he and his brother Chris that's what they're most passionate about. In fact, Chris Roper is responsible for our beautiful 9.5-mile trail that anyone can bike, meaning mountain bike, or hike anytime they visit. Okay. There is a small little trail pass that you pay for online, and that goes to maintenance, strictly maintenance on the trail. And anybody that's familiar with hiking or biking understands that. And so we do that here. And then we host a bunch of races. We just got through in November, which is, I think, when I saw you, having the first mountain bike festival ever in the state of Texas with DORBA, the Dallas Off-Road Biking Association. And it was cold and successful, and so
cold but successful.
And that's right, cold but successful. And so, part of that biking and hiking, that goes back to Chris and Walt, even as kids, and doing things with their dad, who found the 4R and got us here. And then, in addition to that, of course, we have a fantastic wine club that gets together and does all kinds of amazing events. And then we do weddings, birthday parties, engagement parties. We do all of that out here, believe it or not, inside the beautiful barn the winery barn that Anthony and August make wine in for us. That's also the venue for a lot of those parties. Cool. And so lots of wonderful gatherings within those barrels and tanks, and we have seen some pretty spectacular weddings come out of this place. So yes, we offer a lot of fun things. We even have a guest house that sleeps 8 on the property if you want to stay on the property, and of course camping,
Yes.
which Walt can talk about.
Which is unusual. We do have a bunch of campsites here.
Now,
a
is
bunch of
that
tent campers and RV.
Okay, I was going to say, because I'm an RV camper. I did my time in camping in a tent, and I did that in Boy Scouts.
You slept on the ground enough.
Yes. I actually got
That's what I say.
I had an air
But she
mattress.
hasn't ever. Anyway.
Well, I have literally written down here, weddings, event center, biking, hiking trails, camping. So you guys really covered it all. But is that, we're going to talk about this here at part 2 of this episode, but that's pretty important, isn't it? That's a real attractive thing for people to come. And I just want to caveat this. When I was here last time, there was a major race happening, and those fields down there were full of campers and tents, and people are attracted to that. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so a lot of people don't realize, I didn't know this, but we got approached by one of the people who's one of the higher ups in an entity, the Texas chapter of the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, NICA. So NICA, if you are a mountain biker and you are part of your school's mountain bike team in junior high or high school in Texas, your season is actually 6 races in the spring, all across Texas. And so we've had in the past several of these races, and this year we're hosting one of the 6. So we're pleased to be the first North Texas venue. I mean, most of them are centered around Austin, as you might imagine, but we're pleased to be the first North Texas venue to host one of these races. And in fact, we're having one this coming weekend. Oh, wow. And we're always crossing our fingers and praying about the weather, because
almost looked up the weather.
It's gonna be good. We're lucking out. We're in between rainstorms, so we're pretty happy about that.
Very good. Well, that is such an achievement as well. And like I said, Will, the last time I was here with Erica, my wife, that was happening. We sat right at the end of that deck right there and watched these bicyclers just hustling right. We'll walk out there in a minute.
It is so much fun to come and be a spectator here when they do that, because they're literally all over our first valley. And
Wow. Well, that's so cool. So I would say that's definitely an attractiveness of what we're doing here, which is pretty neat.
You know, the last time I did a bicycle, kind of like off-roading like that, like mountain biking, I was probably 17. I was going down a hill. I hit a root and I went head over heels, and I rolled the rest of the way down the hill.
Oh gosh!
And I said no bicycles. I went back to motorcycles.
But you were in West Texas. Are you sure it was a hill?
Actually, it was probably a mountain.
Fair enough. But I got to give credit to my brother. He built the whole loop.
Wow.
And I've welded some cattle guards that are not very pretty. My welding is not attractive, but he pretty much built the whole thing, and it's like fine wine. It's aging. It's aging well.
I've written down here the egg or the chicken driving out here, and of course my wife and I were talking about this. Which was here first? But you're telling me that your brother, after purchasing this, your mother purchased this, and your father purchased this area. Then you built the bike trails.
That's true.
Okay.
Yep. There weren't any trails here.
Oh, we don't. That's actually an accomplishment. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time,
Yep.
and since then I've learned that if you want to hire somebody to build a trail, it's $50,000 a mile is the going rate, and I'm like, wow, we have a $500,000 investment. Who knew?
Right.
It's crazy.
Because that was just your brother out there.
That's just him.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What
Honestly, I'm sitting.
It's too bad he didn't get paid to do it.
Sweat equity. Sweat equity.
And I'm sitting there thinking, shovel, a hoe, and a rake, the whole time, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of work.
No. We did buy a little mini excavator.
There's a few Kubota. We'll give Kubota a plug. There's a few Kubota.
They are a sponsor. They are a sponsor.
Machines that have helped make this happen. Yeah.
So now I do have to ask about the camping stuff. I do love to camp. All right. I did start out with the tent camping as Boy Scouts, and then for a while I did tent camping, and then we got caught in straight line wind, and through the grace of God, we didn't die. And so I was like, no more tent camping. I'm going to an RV, so I glamp now.
Yeah.
So do y'all have?
Well, everyone knows that RVs are much safer in tornadoes.
We have electrical
I'm
and
joking.
water.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Let me get back. So we have a bunch of tent campsites
on HipCamp.
On hipcamp.com. That's right. HIPCAMP.com. You can also go to our website, 4rwines.com, and get to it from there.
Okay.
Right.
And we also book through Hip Camp. We book 2 RV sites we have power and electricity. We do not have wastewater.
Okay.
And so people also need to know we have the guest house, but they can also park their camper, like if they've got a little teardrop camper or something that's not too heavy. Most of our tent campsites are pretty on flat areas, so they can bring their RV onto the tent camping areas. We allow them to drive on that.
Okay. So part 2 to that question is, if they camp out there, do y'all shuttle them down there up here?
No, they generally walk, or they take their trailer off, or they just drive their vehicles up here.
Their bike.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I know a lot of RVers actually use these e-bikes now.
Yep.
I think it's cheating, but
Well, I think this is like real country living here. You don't want a bunch of golf carts shuttling people up and down. I mean, that's pretentious.
Well, I mean,
Well, I do believe there have been quite a bit of wine delivered.
Yes,
In fact, when
we do that.
when they
We
shut us
had
down for COVID,
Ooh, yes.
and they said we could only sell by the bottle, I laugh because they turned us in the world's most inconvenient liquor store.
Right.
Number one.
They did do that.
And that's really and so but what the odd phenomenon is, they shut down all the state parks at the same time. So we got an influx of campers, and we were like, what's going on? And of course the campers came up and bought wine, so that helped us out during COVID.
But we didn't have much of a team during that time, so we would just deliver the wine straight to their campsite, and they
That's
loved
probably a lot
it.
of fun,
And
though, right?
It was so much fun, and what a great way to meet so many people.
Yes.
And from a distance, talk about,
Through a mask. Through a mask.
throw the bottle of wine at them.
we were all outside, but I have to say it was just such great memories for a lot
Yes.
of people during a time that was really difficult.
Sure.
And quite surprised at our landscape and the beauty of what we have here. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And I made this comment at Lonesome Vine, and then at Arcade, and then at Edge of the Lake, and Hidden Hanger, that wine just really brings people together.
It's true.
It's not.
It's a social lubricant.
I've never found somebody that gets angry over being.
I did warn you.
Not as much as some products, perhaps, but it is a social
Okay.
lubricant.
Have you ever seen an angry person drinking wine though?
I have actually here.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're done here. Podcast is over.
But it's rare. It's rare.
So we always like to just really showcase what's going on here. So Anthony, we're going to start with you. Okay, wrap it up. I mean, tell us what you're just so passionate about. What is the future for you and this amazing couple, this great vineyard? What's happening in the next few years? What can we be excited about?
More good wine.
More good wine.
I really appreciate all that they've done to allow me to make the best wine I can make.
Yes, sir.
It makes me happy making them happy with good wine.
All right. Where are you from originally?
Bounty County,
Where's that?
2 counties east.
Okay, two counties
Along
east.
the Red River, about the same distance from the Red River as we are here.
How did you find your passion for winemaking? What
Well,
happened there?
I got laid off.
Okay.
I was a tool maker and a Boy Scout leader,
Okay.
and one of my Boy Scouts' dads owned a winery.
Wow.
So I started working there a little bit until I was called back to work. And they called me back to work. I told them I was going to stay where I was.
Good for you.
And I went to school, took classes, and just never looked back, really.
And here you are thriving in what I consider a really nice world-class operation.
Yes,
here.
yes.
So well
Thank
done.
you very
So
much.
congratulations to you for all you do. And I'm drinking some of your wine now. It's outstanding.
Thank you.
Well,
Seriously, congratulations.
Since we're talking about that,
Yes.
what have we been drinking so far?
What Anthony, what you pour me?
This was Malbec.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is my first time drinking Malbec.
Really?
Okay. Just
What do you think?
That tells me y'all haven't done a podcast in Argentina yet.
So, hang on, here's what I'm going to think about it. I want to take a drink right quick.
What? Texas Malbec isn't Argentina. It's totally different.
It
Okay.
is.
There's
Where
different.
it's grown has a lot to do, and where it's made has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But it still does well.
Well, traditionally, the Argentinians are the ones who produce the
Yes.
Malbecs, and
Yes.
it's very cheap wine, surprisingly. So when you're young, especially, you're buying the Malbecs, and this is an
They
outstanding.
stole it from the French, and they made it most famous,
Okay, very good.
in my opinion.
Very nice. Yeah.
The French would just say, quit stealing things from us, they wouldn't be.
Well, we should have told them quit stealing things from this from us because we're the ones that saved their bucks.
Yeah. Back in the 60s, right? Was that the 60s?
No, that was the 1880s.
Back in the 1880s.
I will proudly say that there is a bust of T.V. Munson, a bronze bust of T.V. Munson in the French Legion of Honor, and I have my picture with that when I was in my previous corporate career, and we were fortunate enough to have a dinner there, and it was a proud moment for me as a Texan, and then I got to explain to everyone how we helped them. It was wonderful.
Is that in Paris? Where was that?
It was in Paris, France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait a minute, you said bronze bust. Oh, bust.
You thought she said bust.
I thought you said bust.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sitting there like, wow, that's a big old bronze.
So do y'all
answer this real quick?
No, what I was going to say, do y'all know the story of T.V. Munson, how he saved the French wine industry back in the 1880s? Okay, y'all need to do a show on that, honestly.
For sure.
I'm not going to tell you all about it because
You can give a short version.
Yeah, so phylloxera was actually a New World wine disease that the New World American vines were immune to. Well, what happened is it got over to Europe and infected, and their entire wine industry, the vines started dying all over France, all over Europe. And T.V. Munson was a horticulturalist who was based in Ivanhoe, Texas. Denison, I'm sorry. And he, in the 1880s, believe it or not, he was kind of a world-renowned horticulturalist, and he took grape clippings from the vines and went over to France and grafted and took rootstock over, and he basically saved the French wine industry. And he has the French Presidential Medal of Honor that he received back in the 1880s.
That's awesome. Well, we will.
So you guys need to find. There's probably a wine professor. There's probably a good wine professor at Tech. Y'all could do
Dr. Shiner.
Yes, or Shiner would be a great guy to do. Justin Shiner would be a great guy to do a podcast with, and he can tell you the whole history.
Or even Andy over at Grayson Community College.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Andy's
T.V. Munson facility over there.
Okay, we will do that.
Yeah, it's named after T.V. Munson.
Awesome.
But it's a fascinating history. In fact, the book is there is a book about him. It's fascinating.
I'll probably read that before we do the podcast. Awesome. So for you two, wrap it up. Tell me about some of the vision, some of the things. If I come back here in a couple of years, what shall I expect?
Well, we're not going to wait a couple of years.
No, well, we won't wait. When I come back here in a couple of years.
Well, we obviously have a destination winery here. We hope to add to the benefits. Have more food, more variety, more experiences that we can offer. More lodging, similar to what you'd see at a destination winery in California or France. So that's what we see for the future.
That's our vision. We just keep growing.
More races, more mountain biking, more camping, more RVing.
Yeah. Well, I just met these gentlemen, but I had met Nicole before, and I talked about this pregame, Nicole. But one of the things I really liked about you, this is the third time I've actually bumped into you. I made the fourth. But I think you're an incredibly nice person, but I think you're a very savvy businesswoman as well. And something about that harmony I really am attracted to. I think it's very impressive. So I want to, kudos. Then you have to take care of these two boys as well.
I do.
I get that.
Yeah, that's my job.
That's your job. But so I just want to compliment you, because this is the third or fourth time I've bumped into you. Yes. You're nothing but completely kind and friendly and respectful, but also just a savvy business lady.
And the one time that I met Nicole at the North Texas Wine Association
Yes,
Festival.
at our Drink at North Texas Festival, which will be happening again this year. I hope everybody comes to Capel for it.
We had a blast at doing that.
It was so
and
fun.
I got to meet a lot of the people there, and I can't wait. This year, we're going to broadcast live from that, hopefully.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
We'll get
This
you in
is
there.
so
Get you guys
exciting.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
exciting.
Yes.
Yes,
Cool.
for people that don't know, we are members of the North Texas Wine Association. There are 40 wineries that make up this association. We host a wine trail 3 months out of the year in February, May, and October. And we do some private wine festivals, like at the legendary Windsong Ranch. And then we also do this fabulous festival every year where we all come together in one place and showcase our wine to the public. And it's always at the Sound in Capel. So we hope
And it's called?
Drink North Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I notice how you said drink and then pause.
And
Yes,
and
we're
the,
all about North Texas. So
and the facility is pretty cool. The sound is pretty cool.
it's a neat
Live
place.
venue.
It's a neat place. It's a neat place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. So we appreciate you guys. We're coming back here in a minute, Will. We're going to do just a little educational part today, a little portion of education that these good folks will help teach us, right?
Yes.
And then we'll talk about kind of where we can reach out to everybody. Does that sound good to you?
So yeah, it sounds great. But we need to find out one last thing.
Oh, do it.
Where can we find y'all at? For our listeners who are listening to this podcast for
Sure.
the first time and for whatever reason never been on the internet before,
Sure.
where can they find you online?
4R Wines, WINES.com.
Can you spell out the letter R for me?
It's the number 4, the letter R, wines.com.
Clarify.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wines. Why did you feel you had to spell that out for our listeners?
Well,
Do
you
think-
know, sometimes I don't know if my enunciation is
I
always
got you.
correct.
Yeah.
So I did
Enunciation.
it. I have learned. I
love
need to enunciate.
Well,
so
we're
there
excited
you
for
go.
this.
You know, there was one thing we did not touch on this.
What's that?
And I can't believe we didn't touch this.
What's that?
How did you come up with the name 4R?
Well, there you go, Mr.
It stands for the 4 Ropers, and that's my last name. So our original ranch growing up was on the Brazos River. We grew up in Waco. My parents had a ranch on the Brazos,
They did.
and it was 4R Ranch.
Interesting.
And eventually we moved, sold that, and
Well,
bought
they
this
also
ranch.
planted a fantastic pecan orchard there as well, and so we decided that when they bought this ranch, it was the 4R.
I like that.
And it's really hard to find a name that nobody else has.
That's
so
true. And
use your own name.
It's unique, right? It's unique and it's all yours. So it's all
That's
yours.
right.
Awesome.
Well, good. Well, Will, we're going to be back in a minute. We're excited,
Yes.
and thank you guys for. Please stay tuned. We're going to be back in a moment. Well, hi, listeners. Welcome back to We Know Texas Vino. This is your host, Michael. Hey, we are so excited to share this next segment, the educational edition of our podcast. If you have any ideas or topics that you would like to learn about, or you want to hear from a wine enthusiast, please reach out to us, and especially on We Know Texas Vino on Facebook. Listen, folks, grab a glass and let's saddle in for this next segment. Cheers. And welcome back, everyone. We're having a great time here. Oh my gosh, 4R is amazing. You guys are awesome. So we're going to talk real quickly about an educational process here, and I want to make sure that that Will stops laughing. We just had a great interaction with some great customers, didn't we?
Yes, we.
Okay. Yeah, Will's still laughing. So, listeners, I mean, you have to understand, we're live here, we're having a great time, but sometimes we interact with some
Yes.
real wild people.
Yeah, we actually get to meet the actual customers that come
Yes.
in here and drink the wine
Oh, my gosh.
of the owners and the winemakers that make here, and we get to actually interact with them and get to enjoy the personalities.
The owners didn't help, though. They were kind of instigators of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm just still wiping the tears from my eyes and
Oh, my
laughing
gosh.
so hard.
Okay. Let's do some education real quick.
They're,
We're real
good, they're a
quick.
good group.
I
Here's
just
what
like to
titled-
say wine drinkers have more fun.
Well, they do have more.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't want to believe this. Go say something.
So I titled the educational, what does it mean to be a destination location and why? Okay, so we're real quick talk about that. Obviously, we picked a great venue for that. So Walt, why don't you start? Why is a destination location important to you guys? And did you do that intentionally to attract people to your winery?
I'd say the definition of a destination winery is a winery at which it makes no financial sense to otherwise open.
Okay.
because it's inconvenient location. No, but it's also a place. A destination winery is kind of defined as a winery in a place where people are going to escape from where they are, and so we're out a ways. You got to make a deliberate trip to get out to us. And hopefully you're going out for the experience, and that's part of enjoying the wine. Obviously, we want to make great wine, and we want to have great scenery and provide a great experience. Food, wine, and the scenery are all part of that, or the physical activities too, which we're trying to develop with the mountain bike trail and the camping.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nicole, you feel pretty passionate about that as well. Obviously, it's very close to your heart.
I do, and I would say for the folks that are in the DFW Metroplex, you know, we're an hour and a half north and west of DFW, and so yes, you know, you do have to travel to to come to us, but then, when you fly into San Francisco, you have to travel to Napa too.
That's very true, isn't it?
It's if you think about that, it's really not very far to have not only us as an award-winning winery, but 2 other award-winning wineries, so you can see 3 in a day. The other thing that's just developed that's so exciting up here is a company called Red River Rides, and that's owned by our friends Martin and Marlene Phillips, and they will come pick you up at your location in DFW and bring you up here to the wineries and take you home. And they do that for not only the folks living in this local area, but they reach as far as Dallas and Fort Worth as well. So if you want to get, 8 or 10 people on a bus and come up and see all of us in a day, you can do it.
That's great. That's good advertising right there. That's amazing.
So you mean basically it's a wine Uber?
You got
wine
it.
Uber.
I love that idea.
And Anthony, as the winemaker, how attached are you to this whole philosophy, or is it more of just a kind of a side project? I mean, how important is it to you?
I keep my nose to the grindstone in the winery.
In the winery. You stay busy enough, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so you got this couple, and of course the other people who advise them and counsel them to work on that.
I really wish I had more, I would take more time to physically use the mountain bike trail.
Sure, absolutely.
Because I grew up in Boy Scouts also, and the outdoors. Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people a year?
But Anthony won't tell you, he's modest. He appreciates being able to make wine in a rural setting.
Yeah.
That's
Because
true.
he is a country guy and likes the beauty of the rural Texas landscape.
Yeah.
And so I think for him, if he appreciates a lot more, I think, well, I'm speaking for him, but I think if he had to travel into Dallas or downtown Dallas or downtown wherever, I think he wouldn't enjoy it as much as he enjoys being out in the country.
Cool, nice and quiet and peaceful.
Yeah, there's nothing. How can I say this? Nothing more amazing than being out in a rural area and getting to be out here. Because I grew up in West Texas, and there's nothing just so.
What's refreshing,
It's
revitalizing?
Yes,
all those
that's
things,
the word I'm looking for.
Are those more words I'm throwing your way?
Those are the words I'm looking for.
Awesome. So how many people a year do you think come to your destination?
Oh, wow.
Is that a tough call?
That's really tough.
We should try to measure that, but we've never done it.
Okay.
I can tell you
Yes, the
that.
winemaker does measure that.
Yeah, he's not here today. I can tell you that during our busiest times of the year, spring and fall, on a Saturday we can see 200 to 250 people in a day.
Sure.
That's easy.
Busy, yeah.
Easily done. Whether people make reservations or not, in advance.
Right.
It's quite a few in peak season.
Well, I think you guys have an advantage having a destination location here, for sure. It's going to bring a lot of people in here who maybe don't even know wines, but are going to suddenly discover you have great wines, which is, I think, just the cherry on top, right? Yep. It's the gravy at Thanksgiving. It's just the extra bonus, so it's very good. Well, we want to congratulate you guys. I hope you had a fun time. I know we had a blast. Will's still in tears over here, but we're just grateful for you guys. Thank you for the invite,
Thank you
of course.
to our Munster friends for making it colorful.
They were so much fun.
Yes.
We actually had a fun tape. We'll have to do this sometime. Just do like fun experiences that we encountered as we go through this. But
the one thing I have to say is every episode when we meet a new owner or new vintners, we have such an amazing time with them.
Yep.
And we've never not had an amazing time with them. And we've learned so much more. And if you stop learning in life, you're not living.
right.
That's my personal opinion. If you're not learning, you're not living.
Oh, for sure. You're a lifelong learner, right? You got
Yes.
to be. Well, let's wrap this up, Will. I had a great time here with you, buddy. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah.
It was a great time venturing up here and having a good time. So real quick, Will, just review with everyone how they can reach out to us.
Yes, so you can go to Facebook and see us at We Know Texas Vino. Find us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible,
Yep.
wherever you find your podcast at.
Absolutely.
And while we're at it, how can we find y'all? Again,
Let's review one more time how we can find you
Yeah,
guys.
so you can find us at 4rwines.com, especially if you want to see our event calendar. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Yelp, and Google.
So what about
And HipCamp.
There we
And
go.
HipCamp.
That's spelled HIPCAMP.com.
There we go.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we want lots of people to come see you guys. We're excited for you. So let's wrap it up here real quick, buddy. Any last thoughts or takeaways from today?
The takeaway from this place is I realized that, don't have to be just a winery. You can be a destination winery.
Right. Yes. Which is pretty cool, right?
Yes.
And for me, my takeaway is just the great people we've met throughout this podcast experience. But you guys are no exception. You guys are wonderful people. We wish you the very best of luck. But everything from feistiness to a little bit of a borderline sarcastic, dry humor Steve Martin kind of a guy who obviously is fun and enjoyable with your brothers. Nicole, the passionate businesswoman, as well as a great friend to the community, obviously here, and then Anthony, who's kind of the quiet assassin who does a great job with his wine. So I want to compliment all of you on a world-class operation here for sure. So well done. So I have a quote I finish up with every week.
Yes.
Will, are you ready for this quote?
After the last one, I'm ready.
So this is for Nicole. Okay, this is this week's quote. A good man can make you feel sexy, strong, and able to take on the world. Oh, sorry, that's what wine does. So that's my quote of the week. And so I hope you enjoyed it.
Nice.
Another day, another
I'm
glass of
taking
wine.
that with me. I'm owning that.
Cheers from 4R Ranch and Vineyards and Winery in North Texas Hills Country. This is Michael.
This is Will.
Cheers.
Cheers.